David, this is the Death Ground SEO show. It's the channel you watch when you've literally got nothing else to lose, so stick around, slap a like on it, execute the subscribe function, let's do some SEO. SEO, so first you need a little zen, and then you need to understand what are the four, yes 4, not 3 as you've probably heard, 4 areas of SEO are. Technical SEO, on-page SEO, off-page SEO, and probably the most important area that's often forgotten about, and that is UX SEO. Other people have different terms for it like page experience, but user experience SEO is one of the most commonly forgotten about areas. And while we're talking about SEO, I want to talk to you about one thing that I want you to put completely out of your mind entirely. At the bottom of a Shopify product page, collection page, blog post, there'll be something called SEO title, SEO description. Well, in fact, they're not SEO, they're actually click rate optimization. They are essentially what you send out to the world as your advert. They have no ranking capacity, they have no ranking factor, they don't help you rank. So don't worry if you haven't completed them or populated them with correct information, because 70% of the time, Google changes that information anyway. So let's get on with number 1, technical SEO. So number 1 is technical SEO. This is everything that's under the hood of the car or the bonnet of the car, depending if you're in America or the UK or wherever you are in the world. These are the things that you can't directly see, but affect the experience of the site by small adjustments. So it could be things like, do you have broken pages on your site? How are you wasting link potential to different pages internally? Have you got sub-collections? Have you got breadcrumbs? Have you got clean structure? Is your site fast to load? Are there accessibility issues? Are there redirects to redirects that redirect? Things that you make small changes of that could affect your entire site. But on the flip side, I love technical SEO because when you fix a technical SEO problem, it can benefit the entire site. Whereas when you fix an on-page SEO problem, you're generally only fixing that page. So technical SEO is super important, and it's super important to understand it from the very outset. Take a bit of time to learn about these things, because if your business is going to be e-commerce, it's really important you understand it too. Number 2 is on-page SEO. This is really easy for you to fix and handle yourself without any technical know-how. Really, it comes down to things like the correct file names of a product type or a picture on a blog post, making sure that's not just background logo zebra.jpg, but actually relates to the keyword you're using on that page. On-page SEO also includes things like correct keyword research, understanding the difference between a generic junior keyword and a primary topic. Some keywords really are semantically linked or are closely clustered around one another, and you can very often, if you don't do it right, use the same keyword on multiple pages and cause what's called keyword cannibalization. Something to really understand is this, is if you don't know what your primary page is for a particular keyword, then Google won't know either. And so that's what you can fix yourself. That's on-page SEO. Quick advert, if you do find I'm talking too fast and you just want someone to do it for you, in the description you've got a link to my Fiverr profile, loads of 5 stars, check me out, the SEO Fairy. Number 3 is what we call off-page SEO. These are things that we do off our site, most notably backlinks. Word of warning here, if you're just going to go on somewhere like Fiverr or a freelancer site and pay some random person on the other side of the world for a bunch of backlinks because you think it's going to help you rank, you're going to lose money and you're probably going to do more damage to your site than good. There's tons of easy ways out there to get highly relevant, high quality backlinks. And the key thing is this, what does a backlink do? A backlink is a vote of confidence to Google that your site is trusted about that particular keyword that which they're linking to your site on. So if you sell sports goods and a sports blog gives you a backlink saying, here's a great sports goods store, that's probably a good backlink. But if you run a sports goods store and you get a link from a church the other side of the world with casinogambling.com, it's probably not going to do you any favors. So off-page SEO is something that's crucial to do. It's still really important as a ranking factor, but it's also something that a lot of people do wrong because they don't know how to go about it. There's a couple of ways you can go and do that. I'm going to put that in my next video at the end, which is 5 things to do at the very beginning. But as for now, don't buy low quality, irrelevant backlinks. If you could look at a list of the backlinks that you've paid for on the back of your website, if you're embarrassed by any of them, then it probably isn't good for you. But that's number 3, that's off-page SEO. So number 4 is what we call UX SEO, which stands for essentially user experience SEO, or making sure people have a damn good time on your site. But it's not just us that have to worry about user experience. Google cares about it too. They're an advertising business, which means if people stop using their search engine because the query results are terrible, then they're going to start losing money in a big way. Google wants us to take that seriously too, so it's why they're starting to care a lot more about page speed, and more algorithm updates have been focused on trust indications on websites, page speed, have you got too many pop-ups? So it means it's really important that your pages on your site don't just bring people into your website, but keep them sticking around. If 9 out of every 10 people that land on your page bounce or leave, that tells Google that probably people aren't getting a good experience on your website, and you might start to see your ranking drop. So page insights and page experience all form part of what we call UX SEO. You can find out more about how people are experiencing your website by looking at Google Analytics, having a look at bounce rates, and also time on page. Those factors, when you start playing around with them, can really have a positive effect on the end result. So now you know that information about SEO, what can you do with it? Well, what I wanted to really do was make sure before you start looking for a freelancer to help your SEO, whether or not you're using Upwork, People Per Hour, or Fiverr, where you can find me, you know that when you see those adverts offering you to improve your ranking and they're not mentioning any of these factors, you're probably not getting the best value for money. Just because something's cheap doesn't mean it's worth spending money on. And I really recommend everyone, when they start out in e-commerce, take a bit of time to do a bit of your own research and make sure you understand your industry that you're working within. Don't forget to hit that like button. The algorithm, I like the likes. I like the likes. I feed off of the likes. If you've got any questions, stick them in the comments below, or they might just get answered in the videos you can watch at the very end. Those 2 videos that I recommended. One of those is about why I do not use SEO apps, and the other one is the next steps, now what you should be doing when you're starting your Shopify site.